I'm Draco Self-Important, and I think you should listen to me. Today, you're gonna listen to me ramble about how fucking crazy I am. Uh, I don't know, man. So, we're gonna start the rambling actually by rambling about how crazy my partner is, because that is the source. So, the moral of the story today is Draco here needs to stop reading into everything that everyone says like it's some sort of secret code and there's some sort of hidden meaning. Because not everyone does that, right? Not everyone, like, is indirect in their speech. And I have a lot of trouble um, because sometimes people are indirect, sometimes people are direct, and my brain can't really tell the difference. And so then I will try to read things into what people are saying and doing because I assume that there's some secret meaning behind it. Because in the times that I assume that people are being straightforward, they're usually not. And so it's very confusing because there are just so many people who will say one thing and do something else. And, like, I don't, So, like, I end up, like, projecting this bullshit out into my actual life. Um, and in this case, like my partner, having a hard time, massive dental issues, massive amounts of pain, like depressed AF about it, and rightfully so. Like, I don't, I'm not. That in and of itself is a problem, but not like, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely, I would love for him to be able to get that shit fixed so that he's not in pain constantly. It, oh, God. Whew, yeah, it's a huge stress for both of us because I mean, obviously it's a stress for him, but I am like, yeah. So, as depression does, sometimes it makes your brain explode a little. And he said that, like, last night he had like a whole like freak out. Only got like 2 hours sleep. Big ass mess of a night. Um, and he's this is happening more frequently because the pain is getting worse. He's getting really concerned. I'm concerned. Like, fucking King Tut died from an infection from a cavity, man. Like, I'm like genuinely concerned because that shit can cause heart conditions. And here's the kicker: he's got a full-time job in insurance, but the copays are so fucking high. It's like 8 grand out of pocket that they want up front. Like, from you know yeah, like, I'm sorry, bro. That's like months of rent. Like, my car's a piece of shit, but I own it outright. Like, I don't have these expenses. And, like, he lives with a bunch of friends. They bought a house rather than rent. So, like, he pays, like, nothing, basically. Not nothing. He pays his portion of the mortgage, but there are several adults living there, so it's not, it's a nice house too. Um, but and he does not drive. So, like, he pays for shit for my car because I drive us around. Um, you know, but it's like he doesn't have expenses, but, like, he also doesn't have a job that pay, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah. So, he's, like, being very direct and open and, like, just being a reason, um and I'm like reading into everything he's saying, and I'm like, bro, are you like trying to push me away? Like, what is happening here? Like, and it's he's not someone who speaks in code. He's not like, we've been together for over a year and a half. Yeah, yeah, that's how math works. Um, and like, we communicate well. Like, if one of us is particularly in our feels, or if we both are, sometimes we'll butt heads. But I mean, damn, like, I don't think we virtually never even raise a voice. Like, I don't, yeah, Like, the meanest thing that he said today was, I know how to write a resume with no punctuation. And I'm like, fine, I don't want to give you resume advice anyway. Shut up. Like, but like, that's, so, and I'm speaking as someone who has extensive history in relationships where the smallest, like, you dropped a fork becomes catastrophic. We're calling each other names. We're, insulting each other's childhoods and shit. And it's like, it definitely is not that. But like, I'm just tired of making myself feel like shit. Like, I'm tired of adding extra levels of emotionality for what? Who is this benefiting? I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like sometimes I get conversations out of it, or I get details or reassurances that are helpful, but then other times I just push buttons so hard trying to be like, no, no, what you're saying, no, I definitely, there was something, no. Yeah, I don't know, man. I say he doesn't speak in code, but there are definitely times that he will do things that he doesn't necessarily want to do because he feels like it will be helpful to me. Um, and like that is a thing that I have had to fish out before. So I mean that, and I think that's what it comes down to is me feeling like he's pushing me away. Is I'm like, it's like the extreme version of the him doing for me something that he doesn't want to do if he were actually to like stay with me but I don't know, man. He just doesn't strike me as that guy. Like, he's a very independent person. He does not have an issue being alone. Um, so I don't think, that this is all some grand plan to get me to fuck off. I think if he wanted me to fuck off, he'd tell me to fuck off. In fact, he has said all of these words to me. He's like, no, that's definitely not what I'm trying to do. Like, this is really fucking rough and I'm scared and I don't know what to do. I'm like, well, bro, I'm here. Like, I just want him to be okay. Like, it's so stupid because I bitch at him and I'm like, the whole like you can't pour from an empty cup shit and you have to take care of yourself. Put your fucking oxygen mask on first. Blah blah blah. But then when it actually comes down to it, I'm like, I don't give a shit if I'm okay, but if he's bad, that's a problem. Like, oh god. It is it's a hypocrisy that I recognize in myself, but is so ingrained in trauma and shit that it is real hard to like because like I will literally tell myself like you have to treat yourself with the same compassion that you treat other people. Like if this was someone else's life, you would not be reacting this harshly. So why the fuck are you beating yourself up? You know what I mean? Why are you inferring things that to someone that like is not like why must you assume the worst of everything all the time? Like, especially when shit's already bad. Can you not just concentrate on the shit that is bad, sir? Like, but here I am, trying to add problems, make up problems. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know how to. I don't know, man. Like, this chronic pain is. I don't know what my phone is making noise about. Um, Chronic pain is atrocious. And dental pain is the worst pain. Like, I have given birth a couple of times, once without drugs. I would rather do that than get a fucking root canal. Like, no joke, like dental shit is the worst fucking pain a human can experience, and the fact that it is not like standard to just be covered at regular rates with like the $30 copay or whatever with your insurance, the fact that them's your luxury bones, like yeah, he's been on multiple courses of fucking antibiotics through like urgent care and shit because he goes and they're like, well, until we can do the whole procedure, there's just nothing to do because literally every tooth has to come out. So until he's got the money for the whole goddamn kit and caboodle, no one will do shit. They won't do it a piece at a time. No one will do anything. He's just miserable about it. and like I'm just left sitting watching him suffer with the inability to do anything. It's fucking miserable. I don't know, man. I just wish that, not I wish, I am trying to recognize when I do these things so that I can change. Because I have changed other behaviors that were adversely affecting me. So, like, add it to the list, update the programming. Like, it's just, this is so this is so deeply ingrained in the fact that if I didn't predict my mother's moods, behaviors, what have you, my life was fucking miserable about it. My dad was just as bad, but I wasn't there as much. Um, and he was, far more likely to just beat the shit out of me than to be emotionally manipulative and like, you know, yeah. It's not so bad now because like if I get loud, I boom like the oh thank you testosterone man, um, but like men yelling was such a trigger for me. Like a dude raises his voice over fucking anything, and I'd be like, "Eek." Like it was just instant like brain went into, fight, flight, or freeze. People always forget the freeze, though. It's like you never seen a deer. There's another option to the fight or flight. There's the, I don't know what the fuck to do. I'm just going to do nothing, which is normally what my body does. I just freeze up and feel like shit and can't take action. It's great. Um, yeah. And then because I have the extra special, I got the CPTSD. It affects all kinds of cognition and all of it. Yeah. See, that's the whole like with me being like I'm probably autistic. I don't know. The people or at least one of the people that I had the I'm probably autistic discussion with was the person who diagnosed me with CPTSD. So like he would one would assume be taking that into consideration when talking about possible autism, but like there's a lot of overlap there. I've seen I had like a passing conversation with one of my kids' therapists about this. Um, and, the whole like, is it trauma or is it autism? And, I, yeah, functionally it doesn't really make a difference, but there's like stuff you could do about the trauma responses in some cases. There's some therapy, and, if it's just your brain works different, then like, all right, chill, you know. But like, I'm declining, man. Like no joke. Like I am not as quick as I used to be. It's coming like I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like it's coming back. I'm becoming more capable of like doing things. Like the fact that I have even been like, oh, I want to make a video. Okay, I'm just going to do it and go. Like I did this. I've been hemming and hawing about what to talk about, and I looked at my analytics today and saw the drastic drop because I hadn't posted anything in a minute. And I'm like, oh shit. Let me, um, I'm hoping to come up with something a bit more controversial to yammer about. Um, but, in the meantime, I don't know, man. It's like we're looking into chronic pain relief therapy. I'm looking into, they've got, excuse me, biofeedback or like CBT are recommended for pain management, and he could get those with his insurance. Why not just fix the fucking teeth? You know how much money would be spent on therapy? Like, this system is so fucking stupid. And this is not uncommon. It's why my teeth are as fucked up as they are, is because I had private fucking health insurance with private dental that didn't cover a goddamn thing, basically. Anytime I had to get anything done, I had to go in with hundreds of dollars. I never had the money to go back and get the crowns after I got the fucking root canals. Like, it's too expensive. And it shouldn't be. I mean, all of our fucking healthcare, you should just be able to go. Like, this, it's with as much money as we spend on fucking bombs for Israel, I'd like to have all of my teeth because had I gotten proper dental treatment, I probably would. But I've got a couple that have been pulled, and all of my fucking molars are broken. All but like two. Like, all of these teeth just fucking shattered. It's why I have such a bad crossbite, man. Like, I used to have a straight jaw, but my teeth are so broken that they match up differently now. Like, I'm just so tired of being on the shit end of every fucking part of the system. There was a point a couple of months ago that I like missed a deadline for food stamps for a renewal thing, a recertification, something or other. And the reason that I had missed this is because 2 months before that, I was in the office sitting across the desk from my social worker, who was a new social worker that not new to me, that had been assigned after I had been in the program for like a year, and basically like hooked me up with all these resources that I had not known before even existed. Like, I'm thinking I've got someone who's on the ball and knows what's going on, and for the most part, I think that that's the case. But she's like, okay, I've got your recertification done. You'll be good to go for 6 months. Well, apparently they sent me a letter, which I missed, probably because I wasn't expecting anything. So I'm like, God, they send me shit all the time, whatever. Um, and I missed the date. And so then by the time I figured it out, it was halfway through the month because I didn't figure it out until the date that I was supposed to get them. So, like, I couldn't have fixed it until I knew that it was an issue. And it was an issue because my specific social worker, looked me dead in the eye and was like, "You're good for 6 months." What she did not realize was I was good for the cash for 6 months, but not the food, and that those dates in all of this rigmarole were no longer matched. And so she thought the information she was giving me was correct. And so, like, in the process of this, I'm like, bro, like, you guys know that the whole reason that I'm not working is because I am like doing things like this. These are the difficult things for me to do. And I've told you guys this on every conversation. After this issue, they put like a disability flag of some sort on my account so that like I'll get like, but because that flag wasn't on there before, they can't do anything based on that. And I'm like, despite the fact that I told you over and over again, no, no, no. Same story. Nope, nope, can't do anything. There would have to be a hearing that would happen in like 6 weeks for me to try to get like 2 weeks worth of food stamps. The whole point is that like I needed to buy food for the kids then, and he literally was like, go to a food bank. And I'm like, bro, like, your employee made a mistake. But I tell this story to come around to, he made very, very clear to me that it did not matter a goddamn thing what they said to me. It only mattered what they sent me in writing. So whatever the letter says is what they go by, and fuck me if anybody says anything else. I shouldn't fucking listen. So I get a letter that says that I'm supposed to have a telephone appointment yesterday at noon, and that they're going to call me, and it's specifically my social worker. I'm like, all right, here we go. Boy, did I not get a call. And then I called and left a message and still have not gotten a call. So is it that the letters are the thing that is absolutely going to happen and the thing that you're going to do and the thing that you stick by? What are we doing here? Because the thing said if I miss my appointment, I was at risk of having a 40% reduction in my benefits. So if this shit comes back to bite me because she never fucking called me, oh my God. I don't even know the amount of ridiculous that I am going to be a pain in the ass for these fucking people. Because if I'm going to have to put effort into this, it's going to be a real pain in the ass for everybody. I'm going to be real obnoxious about it. Everybody's going to be like, oh, that fucking guy again. Yeah, that fucking guy again. Like, this. So here's hoping that that's not the case. But I have very little fucking faith. Yeah, like, it's just... And like my mental health was declining pre-pandemic because essentially I was in a horrible relationship, horrible for both of us. I'm not gonna get into the details of that right now because I that's a story for another time. But then pandemic hits. That makes everything worse. In the process of this, I get to the point that I literally try to off myself. That ends my marriage. Uh, yeah, that was a whole whoo doggy. And then I was doing like a poly thing at the time, and then I got dumped by that person because I'm apparently racist against white people. Um, I'm not. I was talking about white privilege and the difference between racism and bigotry, and like I am white, like exclusively. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, and I'm not self-hating. Like, people are people, but like there's a systematic issue here. Yeah. But um this was a person that like never like went and hopped throughout Europe. Like, three, four different countries within a span of a couple of weeks, and I would hear from them every single day. And the last thing I heard was I got home safe, and then I didn't hear anything for like I don't know, 12 hours. I know that 12 hours for, like, if I did not hear anything from my current partner for 12 hours, I would assume that he was fucking busy. Like, I would probably be a little worried because we do text all the fucking time. But if I texted him and was like, oh my God, I'm freaking out, will you please just acknowledge that you're alive? And called and left messages and da 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 da. Like, I think really what happened is we went out that morning and got coffee and had my middle kid with us, and we got her. There's an ant on my thing. Got her a hot chocolate and they spent the morning with me and a kid, and I think that freaked them the fuck out. And they were like, "Oh God, this looks like parenting," and I'm like, "No, it doesn't. It looks like you spending time with their dad because I do not want nor expect you to parent them. Like that's not what you're here for, bro." Um, yeah, so I think that's actually what it was. But like, could you like not acknowledge that you were alive? Like, I literally was like, "Holy shit!" Like, I was calling hospitals because we lived an hour away, and at that point, I didn't have a working car. And so I was just like, meh. I mean, I had a semi working car. I did not have a car that was going to make it to Seattle. There was no fucking way. Um, yeah. So, no. Oh, God, that is more than an hour, isn't it? I don't know. I don't remember. I think, oh, Jesus. Anyway, yeah, it was too fucking far away for me to go in my piece of shit car that often just decided not to do what it wanted to do. Um, and I asked a friend to go check, and then I got painted as an abusive, stalking nightmare, and I'm like, what? Yeah. So then when I finally do get this person on the phone, I'm like, what the fuck was that about? Like literally, like there was no hint at all that there was any kind of like breakup coming. Not even like we had like a debatey style conversation the night before, but we had that kind of like political debate sort of conversation all the time because like he had traveled the world frequently like or like extensively and had like a really global perspective, and it was like in the middle of the BLM shit, and I was like, I need you to have a little bit more of an American perspective right now. Like I need you to understand what it's like to be like black in America and what whiteness and what role whiteness plays in that. And like they had experienced racism in other countries for being white, like Japan, for example, when they lived in Japan, that shit like that is different because then the dominant culture isn't white people. That's not. But when white people are the dominant culture, I digress. Um, but I was not left with the indication that this conversation was some sort of like catastrophic, like philosophical, oh my God, like I did not think that they were going to just bail, right? And then, like, he did metal work. And so he took my knives to sharpen them because they were all dull as fuck. And I literally just bought new fucking knives because, like, there was no indication, right? Like, the last thing I hear is they drive home and I get, made it home safe, love you. And then I don't hear shit until I send a friend up there to go check and make sure that he's still fucking alive. And but I'm the asshole here. Um, yeah, and then was like, oh well, I just don't know if I can, reconcile with the what you said about white people. And it's like, you didn't have a problem with it last night. You freaked the fuck out because you had coffee with my kid. You're too much of a fucking coward to say that that's what it was about. Yeah. So I was like, well, I guess if our differences are that, atrocious, then we just don't need to speak. Like, because they were trying to break up but still be friends. And I'm sorry, bro. Like, if you are genuinely breaking up with me because you think I'm racist against white people, you are not my friend. You don't fucking understand me. I don't need that kind of energy in my life. Nope. Like that is not an ex that I need to be friends with. Sorry, bro. Like yeah. So yeah, that was a pretty big dent to my mental health because our relationship prior to that was great. Like it took me. I still like there are times that I'm like, oh, because like everything was good until that one day. It's fucking weird. Um, but like I oh, God, I don't even remember where I started this story. I don't know, man. Like then I was single for God, I don't know, year and a half ish, two ish. I don't know. I have lost track of time, um, because I met the ex in 2022. Yes, that's how math works. Um, so yeah, it was like year and a half ish that I was single, maybe 2 years, somewhere around there. Um, I basically just was Grinder Central Grinder Town, Mr. Grinder, Hello Grinder. It was the only place that like I don't know, I felt safe to like not straight dating apps are not where I want to go as a trans dude looking for dudes. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Um, yeah, but it's like I don't know, man. I had insurance the whole time, but couldn't actually like go in when I should have because that would have entailed like time off work, and that wasn't a thing that I could do. Um, so then some found out some horrifying things that had happened to my kids, and it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Um, I I just couldn't fucking work, and that's how I ended up in this I'm on benefits situation to begin with. And I'm trying to get my shit back together because I know that like or at least I have some faith that the CPTSD is something that I can like work through some of it and maybe and I mean I already am like there are ways that I feel like my brain is coming back and there are other ways that I feel like it's declining and I'm oh god. I'm just trying to like not die about it. I mean honestly um because it's like when you're a person who has a constant loop in the back of your head that's like die 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 literally the words are I want to die um like is that oh god man yeah every little stressor is just another like push and another push and I'm just trying like I'm like a fucking sheep on the end of a cliff man There's a wolf coming, and I'm just backing up, going, "Can I not?" Like, yeah, yeah. I don't know, and I cannot at this point establish like decent mental health care, which is why I've been like just winging it. I've managed to patchwork some meds, but I can't get fucking therapy, and I can't get like actual psychiatric care and someone who is willing to like think of me as a human being and not just some sort of drug seeking monster and medicate me properly. But who knows? I don't know, man. So the moral of the story is I overthink things and the system sucks. I don't know. I don't know what we'll watch this back before we figure out what we're going to call it because I have no fucking clue. I don't even know half of what I said just now because I went into a whole like emotional rant, and so yeah. At any rate, hopefully I'll post something more interesting later. But for now, I love you. Be safe. Make good choices.